Wow, how about that? Huh? Y'all can at least smile a little bit now. Come on now. Let's get a little smile out of this. We've walked in here many a times and not been able to smile. We're smiling today. All right, first of all, I just, obviously want to thank y'all for coming out and covering us. Covering this program and direction this program's heading. There's no doubt, I've been saying that this program is, in college football, you trend upwards or you trend downwards. And there's no doubt this team is trending upwards, and I've been saying that for quite some time. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out again to our Gulf Coast families and friends that are suffering, obviously, with Hurricane Irma coming in now, and just the friends that we have down in Florida and being displaced right now. So our thoughts and prayers are with them, and it's very tragic what's going on with them. And then another thing that I really want to bring up is Leonard Parks. They had his funeral today. I was unable to attend, obviously, but was able to fly up yesterday afternoon and go to the viewing and visit with the family. And very sad. It's very, very, very tragic, very sad. And so our thoughts, our team's thoughts, go out to one of our Mustang gang members that it just left us way too soon. And so we'll continue to reach out to his parents and his mom. But I also want to say that, talk about North Texas, hats off to Coach Luttrell and his team. Much improved football team going into year 2. I know the score may not have reflected it, especially kind of late in the game there in the fourth quarter or midway through the fourth, but they never gave up. They fought back. They had us chewing our fingernails over on the sidelines right there about the last 6-minute mark, and we were trying to get some guys in and out and play some guys, and they did a good job. They never gave up. So my hat's off to him. They're going to win a lot of games in that conference. He's definitely has that program trending upward. But I thought being a rival game as it was, we had a good crowd, and our kids just kept battling, and it was really good to see some of our Mustang past and present and future. We had a lot of recruits here tonight. That was great to see, a lot. We were full house. Our honorary captain was Craig Swan, linebacker out of Quitman, and his family were here, and his message that he gave to our players was great yesterday. And then again, for the second week in a row, 20+ members of our team that have played for me over each of the last couple of years were on that sidelines right there and cheering and high-fiving and celebrating. And this is so much about them and all our former players as it is about anybody else. But to be 2-0, 2-0 for the second time in 20 years, it's we got a lot of guys on this team that weren't alive when the last time SMU was 2-0. And that's when I went back and looked at that stat this week, it was amazing. This is only the third time in 30 years. So for this team to be 2-0 right now is a big deal. It's a big deal with where this team has came from. I'm really proud of them. One of the things that really, as you look at our culture, part of our culture is a confidence, a belief, and faith that our process brings results. And you go down by 10, and you don't flinch. You don't flinch. There was no panic. We just got back out there. All we have to do is play plays, just one play at a time. That's all we need. They were prepared. North Texas had a great plan. They were going to mix up their coverage on us, but they were also prepared to stop the run. And I thought they did a great job. But we go down by 10, and then at one point you go on a basically, I believe, a 54-7 swing. And it was 54-17 at one point, but again, it just says a lot about our kids. Nobody flinched. You just kept playing plays and staying the course. So, but that's what we preach in our program here. That's what our culture is about. And offensively, to see those guys weather the storm early, those guys are putting 9 and 10 guys in the box and forcing us to have to throw a little bit more on first down than we wanted to. Our guys, Coach Craddock and the offensive staff, never wavered. Second week in a row that those 4-over-4 moments that we talk about so much, the 4 minutes before half and the 4 minutes after half, it's the second week in a row that we were able to win those. Those moments, I think we had an interception by Elijah, and we go down and run our 2-minute offense down and score, and come back out and get a break on a punt and go down and score again. And so that was great. It was a 14-point swing right there in an 8-minute time. And we preach this, we train for this. It's who we are. We talk about it constantly. Defensively, again, having to weather the storm early, go down by 10. But to be able to create the turnovers that we created, I think we had two interceptions on defense. And I believe both of those led to 14 points. Again, stressing those 4-over-4 moments to be able to gird it up in those times that are so critical. I thought our staff, Coach Malone and those guys, did a good job of making some adjustments at halftime, and our kids played it. And that's something we haven't done a very good job of since we've been here, is just making halftime adjustments. But to be able to do that has been good. Again, it's part of who we are. It's what we train for. Special teams, I thought without a doubt made a positive difference in the game today. I thought none bigger, probably a bigger play in this game was the recovered fumble. Kevin Thomas recovered off punt. Was in great position and great hustle and recovered that. We won the battle of field position, which I thought was huge for us, which we dominated. We had some touchbacks in our kickoff unit. We covered well. It was much improved special teams unit than the week before. So, we've got we're going to celebrate this. These guys are excited. Part of the vision of our football program is to win the Metroplex Championship. And to do that, you have to win the 2 teams that you play in the Metroplex. And we won one of those tonight, and we got another one next week. And I know we've got a great opponent next week, a top 20 team. I'm sure they may be in the top 15 when we play them. Obviously well established and got great respect for them. It's a trophy game. It's an iron skillet game, so that's a big deal. It's a big deal to coach in it. It's a big deal to play in it. And, only thing I ask is our guys to be better next week than we are this week. That's it. Be better than we are next week than we were this week. And, as our message is, as it always is our season must start tomorrow as the mentality. And to come in here with that great attitude, ready to go and be ready to go for this next week. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
What did you see from Courtland Sutton today? Was it just an all-around game for him?
Well, I thought, he had an edge about him before the game. I do know that. And, it was time, and in big ball games like this, you ask for your playmakers to step up and make plays. And he did that. There's no doubt about that. I think he showed why he's an All-American. I think he showed why he's one of the best wide receivers in all of college football. But it was good to see him break free and make some plays as we knew he can and has shown to. And when the game's on the line, it's more than just about Courtland. I think you saw, and looking at the stats, I think Trey Quinn had a really good game. I think he's a great compliment. James Prochet had a good game. So, Courtland definitely showed why he's an All-American.
You talk a lot about the history of the program. He passed Jerry Levias today on the all-time touchdown list. What does that mean, in terms of the history of this program?
Well, I think when you look at the history of this program and the direction this program is going, it's two different things. The history of this program and obviously what Jerry has meant to not just SMU but to college football in general. And to see that, I didn't even know that. So to see that is remarkable, and I know Jerry would be extremely proud of that. If someone was going to break it, it needs to be him. And I know he's extremely excited about that. But again, that's just it's moving forward with this football team is really what this thing's about.
It seemed like before Courtland's first touchdown, including I think a couple plays right before it, he and one of the DBs from North Texas were talking back and forth, and then he ends up breaking the tackle for that first long touchdown. Is he the kind of guy that feeds off of that? Does that drive his engine a little bit when the other team's in his ear?
Yeah, well, we actually had tried to tell him to calm down a little bit, but he's just a competitor, as all these guys are. And when you're building a program like we're building, and you got a guy of his magnitude and the type of player that he is, he's a competitor and he wants the ball. And I think that's been going on. I think it probably started in pregame, and obviously everybody wants to line up against Courtland. They want to go against him, and they want to see what they're about. And I thought the young man did some really good things against Courtland, and obviously you saw why Courtland is an All-American. But that's just kind of the ebbs and flows of the game. You get a lot of emotion and you try to stay the course. And I think actually Courtland got a penalty personal foul on that sidelines, and which is unacceptable, and we talked about that. But again, those are going to happen.
Ben Hicks put quite a few scores up on the board, but he looked a little inaccurate. How do you fix that?
Yeah, we'll go back and look at the film. I thought he missed some throws early, but again, it's all about getting your team in the end zone and getting us in the right protections and moving the thing. I think he was 20 of 41 or something in there. Obviously, there's some passes I know he wished he had back, but the guy is 2-0 as a starter. So.
Now, you mentioned earlier how North Texas was stacking the box against the run. How important was it for you to still maintain that rushing offense and eventually breaking through with Xavier Jones in the long run?
We felt like that we were going to get one. We just knew. We just kept saying from the box that, hey, look, we're going to crease one. It's going to happen. Keep feeding him. And the way they were playing their front, dropping the safety down the box, and fortunately it hit, and none better to see Xavier Jones get back into his form and fashion, and to see him break a long one. So just staying with it. Again, part of our culture is just believing in the process, and not every play is. I mean, they play too. They watch film too. They prepare a game plan too, and they're going to line up to stop some of the stuff that we do. It's just you got to continue to make adjustments, solve problems, and that's what you saw our guys doing.
Cedric Lancaster sustained a pretty scary injury. Can you tell us a little bit how he's doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It was I believe it was some arm injury. It might be his elbow. It looked as if it was his elbow, and so we'll see what that is. I know there's not a young man that works any harder in this program than Ced Lancaster, and the injuries that he's gone through since he's been here, and to see him coming out with an injury like that is I know our players are really upset about it, and hopefully it'll be something we can get him back, but we'll see.
Xavier Jones took a ton of carries, and you held Braden West out and Casey Medlock. What was your strategy there?
Yeah, Braden was a little bunged up from last week, and worked out right at the end of the week. Ran a little bit more on it on Friday. We kind of went into it thinking if we had to have him, we would use him. But if we could keep him out of there as much as possible to give him just one more, a game without taking any hits on it, to get him ready to go for next week. So he'll be back full throttle next week. I know he was wanting to play. I know that, but we wanted him 100%.
North Texas scored 10 points from the first two drives. I mean, how big was the defense kind of figuring it out and keeping them off the scoreboard through the third quarter again to give the offense time to build that lead?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, you knew that you were going to have to withstand their surge. They were going to have a push early on. You were going to get their best swing, as we said at halftime. We took their best shot. We just had to keep playing. That's a long football game. The games are long, and you just got to stay the course. And if you'll just stay the course, and let your coaches make the adjustments, we'll get this thing figured out. And I know defensively we started heating him up a little bit, and he did a phenomenal job of putting the ball where it needs to be. And I've said it from the get-go, he's a really good quarterback, but we were able to put a little pressure on him. I think that helped a little bit, helped us out. But he gives us a chance to just make some plays.
When you have a guy like Courtland who has a game where it seems like almost everything's working and he gets to the end zone 2, 3, 4 times, is it hard for you and your staff to not call his number almost on every play? Because it seems like everything works.
Well, when you got a guy on the other side like a James Prochet and a Trey Quinn, I mean, it's a chess match. It's really what it is. How are they playing Courtland? If they're playing Courtland a certain way, then Trey's got to be open, or James has to be open. I mean, it's just that's kind of the way we look at it there. But it really is. It's hard to say, hey, let's keep feeding 16. But you got some other really good ones too that are making some key catches. I don't know what our third down conversion was tonight, but I know Trey Quinn had some key third down catches for us tonight. So let's see. I don't know our third down conversion. We were 9 of 18. So it's pretty good. When you look at this, it's definitely better. Our goal, I believe, is 45, 47%. So it's pretty good right there.
UNT had a really big week rushing the ball last week, but you guys followed them up nicely today. How were you able to do that?
just, you know, trying to move our front and play a lot of guys up front, D-line wise. You know, our backers had to make plays. We were going to have to mix up some things in our coverages. You know, you have to pressure, but you have to pick and choose when you pressured. I thought their offensive line did some good things early on. We kind of thought we could get to him a little quicker in the game, but those guys did a good job sliding, picking up our protections. But you know, running the ball like that, you know, we felt like that the best part of their football team was obviously their quarterback and their running backs, and we had to stop the run game. And I think we did a really good job with that tonight. And again, you know, there's a lot of things we made mistakes on. Don't get me wrong. We're a long way from where we want to be, but you know, when you play in a game like this, a rival game, two schools that are so close, there's some give and take all the way through the game, and you just got to keep playing.
When you think about the history of football at this school, I think Brad circulated a note. This is the first time SMU has scored 50 points or more 2 weeks in a row. Are you surprised by that, and what does that mean to you that it's your offense that did it? Yeah,
I really am. I didn't know that. Brad told me when I walked in here. I am surprised with it, but you know, again, it says a lot about our players believing in us as coaches. It says a lot about our coaches and the relationship they have with our players, and just the belief that they, you know, truly the love that these guys have. I mean, we use love in our program quite a bit. These guys love their staff, and our staff loves our players, and I mean, it's truly a joy to come to work with these guys every day, and win, lose, or draw. Now we've had our fair share now. I've walked in here many a times, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the way we care for these young men, and the way that they care for their staff, and how much they love this coaching staff. And so it's a belief, and they got to believe in what we're doing. And offensively, we know we've been explosive. That's just been who we are ever since, as far back as you can think of, when we started running this offense. We've been explosive at Lake Travis and Stephenville and Tulsa and Clemson and now here. So we knew that it takes time, and but to get these guys and get the rhythm in and get our system fully installed. So I'm actually shocked, but hey, it just means there's more opportunities. So I'm proud of these guys.
Sorry. You've talked about cleaning up your mistakes from last week and not making them this week. Do you think you guys did that?
Well, I don't know. We'll look at it and see. I think we made some mistakes late in the game that I know that we wish we'd had back. But I think there was some things that we can do better, and there will be constantly. But you know, we'll take the video, we'll watch it, we'll get better because of it. We'll be back out on the practice field tomorrow night, putting this one to bed and moving on, because that's what you have to do. You have to move on in this business. You can celebrate for a few hours, and you show up in the morning or tomorrow, and you know, you'll walk into a staff meeting, and I promise you, every coach's head's going to be held high, and they're going to be disappointed in the effort, or not necessarily the effort. They'll be disappointed in maybe their guys didn't play as well as they thought, or made some mistakes they shouldn't have made. But man, it doesn't matter. You're 2-0, and we'll keep getting better, and that's a great thing out of this.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.